Hey you guys, it's Brittany and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually doing my first ever story time video and I'm really excited to be doing it because I've been wanting to film this video ever since I pretty much had my daughter, but she's 2 years old now, so I thought, okay, well the time to film that video and share this story has already passed. But in the recent vlog, a bunch of you said that you did want a story time on it because my delivery was kind of a nightmare. Like honestly, I mean, I'm sure there was much more worst deliveries out there, but you know, for your first delivery of your baby, I was not expecting this, my husband wasn't expecting this, and it just, yeah, it was just an awful experience, especially because we had such a beautiful pregnancy and our labor happened so quickly and it was so easy. It's just the delivery portion just kind of sucked. So if you haven't watched my birth vlog, I actually did a birth vlog on my labor and delivery. Pause this video, check it out. I will have it in the iCards. Also open up the description box and the link will be there. I don't go into full detail about how awful my experience was, but you can see the progression from my contractions, like laboring down at home, to, you know, the full delivery of my daughter. So if you want to definitely check that out, I would probably do it maybe before this video, so pause it and go watch that so you guys can kind of get an idea. But also stay tuned to the end of this video. I'm going to do just a tiny little giveaway for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started about my nightmare delivery. So to kind of give a little background, if you're new to my channel, I had my daughter at 40 weeks and 2 days. I was due January 7th and I ended up having her January 9th, 2015, which I was totally fine. I didn't care that I was late. I actually wanted to go full term to the full 40 weeks, so I was actually happy about that. I labored down at home for about 6 to 7 hours, and then once I, you know, couldn't take it per se, I was like, okay, let's go to the hospital. So we went to the hospital. We got there like around 6 a.m., maybe 6:30. And once they checked me, I was actually dilated to 6 centimeters. And they were all like, wow, you know, you're progressing really fast. Like, you're going to have this baby before noon. Like, you know, we got to get moving on it. And to point out, my nurse, I did not like her. Everything that she was like thinking in her head, she was like spewing out of her mouth, and she was really stressed out. She was complaining that she just, you know, took her daughter to the airport and she was going to Chicago. She was upset about that. She was complaining that today was her day off and she had to work, which, I mean, yeah, I feel that sucks when you have to work on your day off, but I'm getting ready to have a baby, my first baby. Like, can we maybe not complain? And she was also stressing about how far along I was. Like, I was dilated to 6 centimeters, and she was like, I don't know why you labored at home that long. I don't think we're gonna have time to get anything done. And I was like, what are you talking about? So of course, you know, she tried to put in my IV. You know, they usually put the IVs here, and she tried about 4 to 5 times to get my IV in. That was like, already I knew, okay, and this is not going to be good. So she tried, I think, 2 times on this hand. She couldn't get it done. She called in another nurse to see if the second nurse could get it done. She ended up blowing my vein and then tried again over here and failed. So she called the original nurse back in and was like, I can't do it, you're gonna have to figure it out. So she put in the IV right here, which if you've never had an IV here, it is so painful. I didn't know this at the time because I don't think I've ever had an IV, maybe once in my life. So yeah, I would definitely never get an IV here, because even after my daughter was born, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I was in pain. It was swollen and bruised. It was so painful. So try to avoid that area if possible. So she told me I'm going to have to put it in there. And at that point, like I said, I didn't know it was going to be so painful, but I was like, I don't care, just get it done. Because I hate needles, if you don't know this about me, terrified of them. So, you know, being pregnant was not fun in the needles department. But yeah, I was just like, I don't care, I just want you to get this done. Like, this is ridiculous, it's taking so long. And I'm like a really veiny person. I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but you see all those green, like, I'm super veiny. Like, I'm just a very veiny person in general, so I was kind of surprised she couldn't get it done the first time. But anyway, so she finally got it done. Then she was looking at my chart and she was like, oh my God, you know, I don't even think we're gonna have time to give you your antibiotic. Which, when you're pregnant, you do have to test for like strep B. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, strep B. And it's either positive or negative. And then if it's positive, you have to get an antibiotic. And honestly, I don't even know what happens if you don't get the antibiotic, like if your baby gets sick or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't fully understand it then. All I knew was like, okay, I had to get it, you know, to protect my baby or whatever, and I like knew that it was like a common thing, so if you tested positive, it wasn't a big deal because most women do. So I was like, okay, whatever, so I'm just gonna need to add an antibiotic to my, you know, my delivery. Okay, cool. So anyways, I honestly, I'm not the best person. Maybe if you actually know like really what it does and how it protects your baby, maybe comment that down below, because honestly, I just don't know. All I know is that I needed it. So she was looking at the chart. She's like, I don't even think we're going to have time to give you, you know, your antibiotic. And I was like, but I need it. And she's like, well, then your baby's just going to come out sick and it's okay. We'll just have to give her like extra, you know, medication or antibiotics to, you know, to get rid of it. But, you know, I don't even think we're going to have time because you labored down at home so long. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? And I was like, well, what about an epidural? She's like, oh, an epidural? You want an epidural? She's like, I think that's going to go out the window. I'm pretty sure you're going to have to prepare yourself to give birth naturally. And I was just like, oh my God, like, are you serious? Like, she was just very frazzled. You can see in her movements, you can see, you know, her head, like she was just very frazzled, her body language, the way she was talking. I was just like, oh my God. And I was looking at my husband being like, are you serious right now? And I was just like, no, I need an epidural. She's like, well, I'll see if I can get one, but I can't guarantee we'll get it done in town because you came in so late. So basically it was giving me a hard time that I labored down at home. And honestly, it was my first pregnancy, it was my first delivery. I didn't know I was gonna progress that far along. And in all of my baby classes, they always said, like, first time moms always panic, you know, and they always go to the hospital too early. So if you can labor down as much as possible, you know, at home, that's definitely the best solution, because when you have your first baby, you know, it could take you 24 to 48 hours, maybe longer, to actually deliver. And I actually had a friend in baby class who delivered a week before me, and she labored for 48 hours. For 2 days she labored in the hospital. So I was thinking, okay, well, they say most pregnancies or first pregnancies are like that. And then my friend just had that experience. I was like, okay, it's probably gonna be me. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. So anyways, she was like a complete basket case. Finally, you know, she was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be able to get your epidural. I'm gonna be able to get your antibiotics in time, but you're gonna have this baby before noon. She's like, your baby is coming. We have to move. And I was like, okay. So they gave me my epidural. That went perfect. No problem. I got my antibiotic. That was good. So then the guy doctor comes in, the OB, which I was really like, really like the OBGYN place I went to. I think they had 8 doctors and all of them are female except for 2, and except for 2 were men. And I don't know why, like, I just felt so weird about having like a guy. I was like, really, my luck, I'm gonna have a guy, but whatever, it's fine. I just want to get my baby out and safe, you know, and I want to see her, you know. So I was like, whatever, it is what it is. So anyways, he comes, he checks me, and he's like, oh yeah, you know, you're gonna have this baby really soon. I was like, okay. So anyways, enough of those details, I guess. So let's get into like the nightmare portion of it. So I honestly, you guys, I pushed for 6 hours for my daughter. I pushed for 6 hours. They told me that I would deliver by 12 noon, which obviously I didn't, but it was honestly just awful. I was in so much, I can't say pain because I didn't feel anything, but like my upper neck and my shoulders were in so much pain. They were like shaking like uncontrollably. It was just honestly awful. I was throwing up. I kept throwing up. I ended up getting a fever and throwing up, which caused an infection, which then went to Alondra. So when she was born, she actually went into the NICU. And yeah, it was just, and I kept getting really, really, really bad chills. And I was pushing 6 hours. And the reason why I was pushing for so long is because Alondra was actually stuck. So her head was facing up instead of facing down, which it should be. And then say this is like my pelvic bone and this is like her face, so her face is up, and like say this is like her head. So she was rubbing on my pelvic bone like constantly, and she was stuck and they couldn't get it down. So he kept trying to like twist me. And actually, he didn't even try. I think he tried like one time to like twist her, and he was like, oh, he's like, she's a little stuck, but you know, let's try other positions and we can get her out. Like if you really push hard, you'll be able to get her out. So seriously pushing for 6 hours, you guys, no joke. I was exhausted. A lot of people tell me afterwards when they hear my story, they say you should not push that long. But honestly, I didn't know. It was my first delivery labor experience. I had no idea, you know, what was the correct protocol or whatnot. So anyways, yeah, I just honestly, the delivery portion was awful for me because like I said, I got sick. My blood pressure dropped at one point, but then they got it back up, so that was fine. But yeah, I mean, it was just bad. And the nurse, of course, this whole time was just like, oh my God, like, I'm like, really? Like, she was just complaining the entire time, and that's not what I wanted to hear. So then at one point, you know, the guy doctor, because he obviously has to make his round, so I'm obviously pushing, and that's not, you know, she's not coming. He sees her head because he's like, wow, she has a ton of hair. And I was like, really? I didn't think she would have any hair because I didn't have any heartburn. So that's obviously myth busted right there. And so, you know, obviously he would make his rounds, come back. I would push again. He would make his rounds, come back, whatever. So anyways, at one point when he finally comes back, he's just sitting there, you know, between my legs are up, whatever. And it's, you know, I pushed, and then he's like, okay, go ahead, relax, lay down. He stayed there, and he was like, hey, what is this? And I was like, what is what? Because like I said, I had an epidural, so he's touching me. I don't know what he's touching. And he's like, this. And so my husband like looks, you know, around my leg, and he was like, oh, that's an ingrown. So I had an ingrown, so I guess, I don't know, it's probably TMI for myself. But okay, so I got waxed. Just kind of a rewind here. I got waxed maybe 3 days before my due date because I wanted to be clean as a whistle down there. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was probably going to be a disgusting mess, and I just thought maybe it'd be nice, I don't know, to be clean down there. So I actually got a Brazilian wax cut. Hair gone. So with my waxing, I actually ended up getting an ingrown. So anyways, it happens, that's normal, whatever. So, and it's on the top, you know, right at the top of my vagina. So yeah, like literally right on the top in the center. So I guess you guys can like, I don't want to say get a picture because it's weird. I don't need you to picture my vagina. Okay, it just got really weird. But you know, it's just like right there on the center, but down. Not like right on the top center, but like down, you know? And then there's your, you know, your lips. Anyways, okay, it just got a little bit weird. So anyways, he's touching that and he's like, what is that? And my husband's like, what? I can't feel it. So my husband looks around, he's like this, and he's going like this, like touching the top of my vagina. Do you know what I mean? And my husband's like, oh, that's an ingrown. And he was like, oh, he's like, I thought it was a clip piercing. He's like, he's like, you know, I didn't know if maybe you guys were like freaky like that. My husband and I just like stared at each other, and I was like, excuse me? And he was like, yeah, you know, it looks like you could have had a clip piercing. And I was just like baffled beside myself. I'm like, first of all, you're like down there to deliver my baby. And I've been pushing at that point for probably 5 hours, maybe 4 to 5 hours, you know, which is technically like the most is what I've been told from other people. The most you should be pushing is 3. You shouldn't push more than 3. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but that's just what I've been told by others. So anyways, I'm thinking to myself, I've been pushing at this point for about 4 to 5 hours. You are down there to deliver my baby safely. For whatever reason, you can't get her out because all you keep saying is she's stuck and I need to try different angles to push. I mean, I was doing all different kinds of, you know, angles to like try to get her out and positions. And you're examining my vagina? Like, really? And then you actually say like, I thought you guys were freaky like that, asked me if I have a clip piercing. My husband and I didn't say anything. My husband was just like, yeah, no. And you could tell my husband was irritated. We both were just like, oh dear God, like this is so uncomfortable. This is so awkward. And he's like laughing, the doctor, by the way. And he's like, ah. He's like, okay, let's try to push one more time. It was just honestly the most uncomfortable situation. And I felt almost sexually harassed because he was touching it too. It's like, why are you touching the top of my vagina? Like, I mean, obviously I know he has to touch me, you know, to get my baby out, but you shouldn't be touching me when you're not doing anything and you're just sitting there examining me. I felt so uncomfortable. I just honestly was just beside myself. And the nurse too, who I didn't like, I remember her face, she was like in her head, she's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, did he really just say this? It was awful. And I honestly wanted to cry because I was just so upset and I was so exhausted, honestly, at this point. My whole neck and shoulders, obviously those weren't, you know, numbed by the epidural, started to like shake. I was like shaking because I was in so much pain because I had a, I don't know what it was, but some kind of contraption that I was holding on to, and I was pushing myself up almost like in a crunch position to like try to like push. And from constantly doing that and being tense like that, and then I would go back to relax, like my muscles were just all messed up. And then at that point I was just exhausted and I was like, honestly, you know, can we just try to like suction her out, do something? This isn't working. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. I was crying. I didn't mention also my epidural wore off. So the anesthesiologist actually had to come back in and give me another dose of the epidural because I was feeling the contractions and I was feeling everything. So that was fun. And then the doctor, the guy was like, oh, no, you're fine. We'll get her out. Don't worry about it. We'll get her out. It's just going to take time. So anyways, he had me relax. He went, did his rounds, and he came back and he was like, okay, let's try to push again. So of course we're pushing again. I'm exhausted. And then in comes this other female doctor and she's like, I need to see you outside. So he's like, okay. He's like, well, why don't you lay down and relax? I'm just going to talk to her real quick. And I was like, okay. And I'm looking at my husband like, what the hell is going on? So my husband's like trying to look, you know, through the door like before it shuts. And he's like, hey, I think he's like, she is scolding him. Like it looks like she's having some words with him. So I swear like 2-3 minutes later, she comes back in and she's like, look, we're going to have to do an emergency C-section. There's no way that she is going to come out of you. She is very stuck and I'm taking over. And at that point, I just started crying. I was sobbing because I was just so relieved in a way that it was finally going to be done, that I was getting a new doctor because I was so uncomfortable with this man, and that I was finally going to get a female, a new doctor who seemed very in control of herself, which by the way, I love her so much. She is amazing. And I just felt relieved and that I'm finally going to be able to see my baby. And I was just, but then I was also scared. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have like a major surgery right now. And I was freaking out. But then I also felt defeat, like crying too, because I was like, I'm not a woman, you know, I couldn't deliver my daughter vaginally. Like, what kind of mom am I that I couldn't do that, you know? Hundreds of thousands of women have done this and I can't do it. So I was feeling a bunch of mixed emotions, as you can imagine. So, and I was like, okay, I was like, if that's what we need to do, I was like, do you think we can try it just like one more time if I can push just to see? She's like, okay, let me try. So she puts her hands inside me, which I had that second dose of epidural, so I didn't feel it, but my husband said she literally was elbows deep into me. Both arms elbow deep into me, which I didn't even think that could happen through your hoo-ha, but I guess it can. And she was trying to twist Alondra and see how stuck she was, and she was like, honestly, she is so stuck. I do not think you're gonna be able to push her out, but if you wanna go ahead and give it a go and try, we will. And if it doesn't happen, we're gonna have to do this emergency C-section. Like, you've been pushing too long, we need to get her out. Also, my vagina was so swollen, you guys. When nurses saw and came into the room, because a bunch of nurses were coming in when I was like pushing and stuff too, because if the baby was gonna come out, obviously they need more than one nurse and a doctor, you know what I'm saying? So a bunch of our nurses were coming in with the doctor too whenever he would come so I could push, and they were all always like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, hi, do you have to say that out loud? Can you just like think it? And so I was telling him, like what's wrong? He's like, well, you are really swollen. I'm not, yeah, really swollen's not even the word. It was, oh my God, it was awful. So anyways, I was like, okay, so I tried. Obviously, I couldn't get her out. So she's like, okay, we're gonna have to do an emergency C-section. So she told the nurse, that was the nurse with me the whole time, like, I'm gonna need you to start prepping. So I guess whenever you have a nurse, I don't know if it's that hospital, all hospitals, they are supposed to stay with you from the time you come, I guess, to the time you leave. But I mean, obviously, if you're in the hospital for 48 hours, I don't know how that makes sense or not. But anyway, she was like, oh, great. Now I'm gonna have to stay. I'm gonna have to suit up. I'm gonna have to do the C-section. I should have been gone already, like, 2 hours ago. My shift was over, or 3 hours or something like that. It was like 2 to 3 hours. Her shift was already supposed to be over, but she was already getting stuck staying late because I hadn't delivered my baby. She's like, oh, this is ridiculous. She's like, no, this is gonna take me even longer. So another nurse comes in and was like, hey, do you want me to take over for you? And the other girl was like, really? And she was like, yeah, I'll take over. It's fine. Like, you can go ahead and go. So she's like, oh yeah, that would be great. So then the other nurse is like looking at stuff, and she was like, well, wait, I don't even see any notes in the chart. And then original nurse was like, well, I didn't even have time to put notes in the chart. She was progressing so fast, and we had all these complications and all these problems, so we weren't able to, I didn't get any notes written down for you, so I don't know what to tell you. And then the nurse was like, okay, well, let's go outside. Maybe you can give me like some of the notes so I can like have some stuff so I know like what happened. So they go outside, and I was just like, are you kidding me? She never even wrote notes this whole time. Like, so just another annoyance. So I was so glad that she was gone. The doctor was gone. I got a new nurse and a new doctor, which the new nurse, I don't even know. I don't remember her at all, to be honest, because, she came back in, and then they all got me ready, and they got Edom ready, and then we went into the OR, and then I was out and I had my daughter. So that's pretty much my nightmare delivery experience. I mean, Alondra did come out beautiful and healthy. She did have to spend 24 hours in the NICU, which was devastating because, like I said, I was throwing up. I got an infection that went to her, and so they had to give her antibiotics just to make sure she was good. So, and they had to watch over her. So, which kind of sucked because, I went through all of that pain and torture to have my baby in my arms, and I didn't get to have her because she had to go to the NICU. But thankfully she's okay, and she was okay then. She's still great now. But yeah, it was just honestly awful because I wasn't expecting my delivery experience to be like that, since my labor and my labor, as far as my body, was great. It's just the nurse that was really freaking annoying. And my pregnancy was so great. I thought, my delivery would be easy too, but unfortunately it wasn't. Like I said, I'm not saying I've had the worst experience ever, but I just thought it was really just inappropriate, especially his comment about the clit piercing. I mean, who says that? Who does that? I don't know. Even when I think about it right now, like as I'm telling the story, I'm getting like really pissed in my head, and I really wish I would have complained, and I wish I would have stopped a lot of things a lot sooner, but I didn't know protocol. I didn't know how things worked, and I don't know. I'm kind of like bummed that me and my husband didn't speak up, but he didn't know either. Like we just didn't know what to do. We were just like, oh, you know, and I was just exhausted at that point. So, but we got her out, so I guess that is the good news. And thankfully I did have my doctor. She was amazing. She did my perfect C-section. I mean, she was just so calming, and I just love her. So thank God for her, for sure. So that is pretty much my nightmare delivery experience. Like I said, it was a nightmare for me, and it was awful. So hopefully, if you're pregnant now, or if whenever you have a baby, you will have a great experience and you won't have what I had. So like I said in the beginning of the video, if you stay till the end, I am doing a little giveaway for you guys. And if you do watch my vlogs, and you would have known about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I actually got a pair of freshly picked moccasins for my daughter. And here they are. These are the ones that I got for her, and I thought I would share the love and give away a pair to you guys. So if you're not familiar with Freshly Picked, they have moccasins. I love them so much. So these are real leather. They're made in the USA. They're cute little moccasins. These are the soft sole moccasins here. They have so many colors to choose from, so many variety. And in case you're wondering, this is the Heirloom and Blush. So it's just a pretty pink color here with gold polka dots, and then it has gold, like metallic gold on the sole, so on the bottom. And that's what they look like. You will not win these, so you actually will get to choose which color and which size of the soft sole moccasins that you want to win. I will have all of the exact information in the description box down below to enter the giveaway. So definitely open up the description box and make sure you're following all of the rules, because I will be checking. But most importantly, you need to be subscribed to my channel. You need to follow Freshly Picked on Instagram. Also, check out Freshly Picked's website, and under their soft sole moccasins, I will have the link in the description box. Comment down below if you are a winner of this giveaway, which moccasins you would want. So I hope you guys did enjoy my story time, and I hope you guys did enjoy this giveaway as well. I just really wanted to give back to you guys. I just recently hit 3,000 subscribers, and I love Freshly Picked moccasins. My daughter have been wearing these like crazy ever since we finally got them. So I just thought it'd be nice to give back to you guys and show the love. So that is all I have for this video. So I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!